Hey guys, this is Mikael from The Crown, and you are watching Richard Metal Fan.
Hey, what's up, guys? Bringing you guys another episode of Richard Metal Fan Interviews, calling from Zoom, and I'm here with Mikael Noren, plays drums for The Crown, Walking with Strangers, and also playing with Imminence. So, how are you doing today, man? It is great to be able to have you on.
I'm fine, man. Thank you for asking. I just got home. I've been out picking up a band because we're going to the most northern parts of Sweden tomorrow with The Crown. So
Oh, wow.
just got home from like a 6 week tour by plane, and tomorrow we're heading to Sundsvall, which is like I guess it's probably like 11, 12 hours away from here.
Holy shit, that's crazy, man.
Yeah. So like I've been traveling a lot lately.
Yeah, yeah, but how was that tour?
Uh, the tour was awesome, actually. We first went to Brazil and Mexico with the Crown, did two festivals, and that was awesome. And then I got home for a week, and then I went back to South America with Imminence. And from there, we went to Japan and Australia. So we've basically been traveling every day, which has been crazy. Cool, but crazy.
Yeah, that's cool, man. So, kind of
Mhm.
what I want to talk about is talk about like your musical history and sort of do a speed run of your discography, but take me back to young Michael Noren. So, growing up in Sweden, what were the first bands that got you into metal? What made you want to start playing drums?
Yeah, I grew up in a tiny, tiny village. I think it's about like 50 people living there for real. Like on the outskirts of, it's not even the outskirts, like an hour away from Gothenburg. And this was in the 90s that I discovered metal, which was basically impossible because there was nobody at like my school or anything that knew metal or listened to metal or at least looked metal. Nobody did. But I was fortunate. I found out about Kiss when I was way, way young. I don't even remember. Like there's a drawing that I made at home when I was about 3 years old, I think, from it was a drawing of Gene Simmons, and I don't even remember this. And there's also like a photo from my bedroom when I was 6 years old, and I had a poster of Dee Snider from Twisted Sister. So, like the first bands, I don't even know how I got to know them because I was, that young. Uh, and this was also when you had to like discover bands from, magazines or TV or like just flipping through like album covers at a music shop. So I started listening to Kiss and Metallica and Iron Maiden, like all those bands. And then when I was probably around 11 or something, I saw the album Massive Killing Capacity from Dismember, which was just like a killer robot just like menacing through like some kind of apocalyptic, world or something. I just saw the cover. I was like, this is going to be cool. I don't know what it is, but I'm gonna like it. So I got it home. It was my first really my first time listening to death metal, and after that, it just like spiraled. I saw um, the album Secrets of the Black Art by Dark Funeral when I was 11 or 12, I
Yeah,
think.
best black metal
Uh,
album.
yeah,
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 friends with
and
those dudes.
yeah, yeah. It's like I got to know some of the guys as well, which is kind of mind-boggling. But yeah, you saw that album and just like, I gotta listen to this. And it was my first time hearing blast beats, and to me, it just sounded like 40 million kilometers per hour. It's just like the fastest thing I've ever heard. And then I just knew, like after that, like it's been everything that I really, care about. Like it just changed me totally.
Totally. And kind of like
Yeah.
doing my research, I believe one of your first bands was called Conformity. So tell me about that. I'm digging deep. Like nobody talks about this stuff.
No, it was actually way before that. I had like a band playing black metal covers when I was, yeah, like 12, 13. And through that band, I got to know a few guys in a band called Enthralled. one of the guys ended up playing in Lord Belial for a moment. And from those guys, I got to know a lot of the guys in like the Trollhättan music or metal scene. Conformatory was one of those bands, but I was just in that band very briefly. We didn't record anything.
Yeah.
It's just like a bunch of friends hanging out. I recorded a few demos with Enthralled, and one of those demos was when I was 15 years old, I think, and the demo was engineered by Marco and Marcus from The Crown, which will come into the story later.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So you already knew them before you were even in the crown. That's pretty awesome, man.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Like we go way, way back.
Yeah. Yeah. But tell me about like some of those early enthralled demos being Death is Breeding and Anthropomorpheus.
Yeah.
Yes, like where were those recorded at?
They were recorded in Trollhättan, which was our home city at the time. And yeah, the first demo was recorded by Marco and Marcus from The Crown. And I think we got like some recognition, but we wanted to follow that up with like a real album recording, but that didn't work out. So we just made another demo, which was the Anthropomorphous one. And then I got a call from another Trollhättan band called Impious, because they had recorded two albums prior and they were going to record a third one when their drummer left. So they asked me, I believe this was maybe like 4 weeks before the recording was about to start. So I had to like learn the songs quick as hell. And at first I was just going to play the drums and then see what happened. But like when the album was done, I was basically in the band.
Yeah. Yeah, and tell me about like that first album, The Killer. Did you want when you joined up with Impious, did you want to try to like bring something new rhythmically to that band that they didn't have previously?
Yeah, I was kind of from a different school than their previous drummer. He was very into like Lars Ulrich and Metallica, very like he was a heavy player, which I believe kind of prevented him from going super fast. And I was more into like the faster stuff. So and I believe I maybe I sped a few of the songs up just to like get it more intense, which is like it's been a thing that goes through every band I've been in because I always want to go faster. I'm really in love with like fast blast beats, fast double bass and stuff. So I believe Impious got a bit faster when I joined.
But The Killer I thought was your great first record with the band, like especially like going into that intro, going into Burn the Cross, like that song is just great. It's like a mixture of like death metal and thrash, and then going
Yeah,
into like Do Scented, which is more kind of another thrashy she song, but then you get the Eyes Open, which definitely sounds kind of similar to what would we would eventually join up with The Crown. But even going into like Six, which is kind of like a slower kind of vibe. So I feel like every song
yeah,
on that album is just like different like vibes of how you and of course like Robin, who would also be in The Crown with at the time.
yeah. And I know that Valle, the guitar player who used to write everything, he was very into like each song having their own vibe, and maybe they could attract like different people or different audiences.
Yeah,
But then when we made the album that came after that was more just like death metal, I think, more
yeah.
basic, just traditional Swedish death metal.
Yeah, but I love like on the limited edition of the Killer, you did like some cover songs. You did like
Oh yeah,
Metallica, Running Wild, and even Motley Crue,
yeah.
which is kind of weird for like a death thrash band. So what made you guys decide to like cover those songs in particular?
Yeah, I was not a fan of that idea actually. I've never really been into like making covers because like you cannot make it better than the original most of the times, especially when you're trying to adapt, like these classic heavy metal songs into death thrash versions, which I don't believe it worked, but yeah. The guys wanted to do it, so like we did it, and I believe it was like a part of some mini CD we made for the label because we were going on tour with Necrophobic, I think it was, and they
Nice.
wanted to release something, and I'm pretty sure we made those songs just for that mini CD. But like later on, when music streaming platforms started and everything, like you just took the songs and just like placed it on the same album and then released it.
Yeah. But then going into Hallucinate, I thought that was a great follow-up to The Killer. And of course, you got signed to Metal Blade Records. So what was that
Hmm.
like getting being signed to that label? Because that's like one of the best like metal record labels in the world.
Yeah, we were very excited about that, and kind of felt that things were just like when you're just like getting on the roller coaster, like that things are about to happen. And we were very excited, very hungry, very young and ready. And so I I think the recording process was very easy and very fluent because like we were very confident and we knew what we wanted to do and achieve with that album. We got some cool tours. I remember we did like 2 tours with Aim on the Marth,
Oh
and
yeah.
yeah, we did a tour in Japan with the Black Dahlia murder.
Yeah.
So yeah, we did a couple of cool things on that
Yeah.
album.
Yeah. Was that
Yeah,
like your
that
first?
album is my favorite as well.
Yeah. Were those tours like your first time like playing outside of Sweden, or did you do stuff before that?
No, we went on, I believe it was like a 2 or 3 week tour with Necrophobic, as I mentioned, with on the first album when we made the
Yeah.
Killer, and that was my first time just leaving the country to do
Yeah.
shows.
And what was that like experience like being like, wow, this is different from Sweden.
Yeah, it was really cool, and since I was only 17 or 18 at the time, I
Holy
was,
shit.
yeah, I fell in love with like the way of just like being on the road. You just like when you go on tour, you know what every day is going to look like. Just like you wake up, you go have some food, everything's like pre-made for you. Like you go into the green room and there's food and you can do a sound check, and then there's beer. You do a show, hang out with your friends, party at night, and then go back to the nightliner to sleep, and then do the same thing the day after.
Yeah.
So yeah, doing that when being so young was obviously very, very cool.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Because I love to travel. Like I'm trying to do one of my bucket list things is to try to see like all 50 states soon. So far I'm like at
Oh yeah.
23.
Hmm.
So,
Good.
yeah, totally. And then I guess moving on to the next MPS album, Holy Murder Masquerade. That's like a tongue twister in
Hmm.
itself. Like I
Yeah,
thought that's
yeah.
a good album. Tell me about that.
um I remember we got a few reviews saying that like the last album was good, but it wasn't very you know uh, I think Impius kind of lacked in identity in a lot of ways. A lot of magazines and stuff compared us to obviously The Crown and other Swedish thrash death oriented bands. So we were kind of into breaking out of that box in some way. So I guess we streamlined the music a bit. We made it more simple, kind of took the pace down a bit, and then we tried to incorporate this comic book uh, into uh, into the album, because like the songs were all made in chronological order of just like certain events happening. It's like I remember, I think it was like we were following some kind of mass murderer or something.
Yeah.
So the first song starts out with him going to church to make a confession, and then he starts telling about all these crimes that he had committed, and that was a way for us to just like try to break out of the box somehow.
Yeah. Yeah, because
And like the booklet was filled with like it was basically a comic book with like pictures and from different scenes and stuff.
yeah, yeah, and I thought that's a pretty cool idea. So how'd that idea come to be to sort of make that concept album?
I don't remember. I think it was Balle, the guitar player. I believe it was his idea to start with, and we were having a lot of like band meetings and discussing like the storyline and having meetings with the uh, the artist that did the drawings and stuff. But I had moved to Stockholm at this point, so I wasn't in the band. I wasn't as active as I was before because I was living 5 hours away, and we didn't have the internet in the same way we have today. It wasn't possible to have like Zoom meetings, so I believe the other guys in the band made a lot of the decisions without me. But I thought it was like the execution was not as good as the idea we had, but and too bad. I don't believe like the songs were that good either. I believe we lost a lot of like what made Impious special because like we brought the tempo down. We started incorporating kind of breakdown esque ish parts, which was it was modern at the time, but probably wasn't right for Impious.
Yeah.
Which we made up for when we released the album after that.
Yep, who led me right into it. Death
Yeah,
Domination, sort of the last
yeah,
Impious album. So tell me about
yeah,
making that album because I thought that was a good album, and sadly would be the last album that you would do with the band.
yeah, yeah. So we were, or at least I was, very ready to go back into like frenetic, super fast jet thrash again. So every song on that album is just like a brain melter. It's like I believe it's like every song is like 250 BPMs. Oh, maybe up to like 260, 270. It was like fucking just an insane album to record because like the every song we recorded was like faster than the previous one. And then when you listen to it today, it's like it's not really a dynamic album, I think, but the speed is definitely there. And I think we were very ready to like go on tour and like I remember we tried to get a lot of tours, but things just didn't work out. This was when the record labels had lost a lot of money and momentum, and this was right when everything was about downloading. So bands didn't have any money, labels didn't have any money. So we ended up just like not getting tours, or we did a few festivals, but that was about it. And we were quite disappointed. And after that, it's like we the the steam, the energy, the dedication just like left us, I think.
Yeah, and then during that time, after that, you sort of joined up with Walking with Strangers. So how did that happen? Band come to be?
Yeah, when I moved to Stockholm, I was living with Robert, the singer from Adept, Swedish metalcore
Yeah,
band.
I've
And
had him on my show.
I saw that one.
Yeah, thanks.
I over no, but when I was maybe like 20, 22 or something, like you start partying a lot, you start meeting a lot of new friends. And I was very into black death metal, kind of these underground metal scene before that. But then I started to learn and get to know like a lot of people in the metalcore scene. And it was just a lot of fun, a lot of partying. The metalcore guys are a bit more rowdy than the death metal crowd.
Yeah, I can confirm because I've had
Yeah,
Robert on my show, and he told me about that first album. Is like you can literally smell like alcohol when you listen to the album.
yeah. We were drinking and partying like animals back then, and especially when me and Robert were living together was real crazy. I have a lot of great stories that I won't tell on the internet, but yeah, it's like that was it was awesome times.
Yeah.
And through like Robert and the metalcore scene, I got to learn and know a lot of yeah, people in the industry and friends. I got new acquaintances, and that's where I first started to uh, do fill-in shows for Adept, which I started doing probably around 2008 or 9 or something. So I was filling in for Adept every now and so often, and then I started in Walking with Strangers in 2014, I believe.
Yeah.
And those guys were from Trollhättan as well. So like it feels like every band I've been in has been from Trollhättan in some way. Even though I didn't live in Trollhättan, I was living in Stockholm, which was 5 hours away, but I was still going back to Trollhättan, my old home city, all the time to rehearse and hang with the guys in Walking with Strangers. And we did a lot of shows, a lot of small shows, a lot of like DIY stuff. I remember our bass player his father had a van that we could borrow how much we wanted. And his dad could also hook us up with free gas. So we didn't really need money for shows. We would just took his dad's van and then went. So we were basically just like out partying
Yeah.
all the time, just doing small shows.
Cool. And then still speaking about metalcore and stuff, because I know you also do session work. Because I know I'm backtracking a little bit, but in 2007 you did some session drums with Scarpoint with The Silence We Deserve. So how did you end
Yeah.
up like playing drums on that?
They posted something on a small community, like a music community back then, saying that they needed a drummer. And I told them that like I'm about to move to Stockholm. This was a Stockholm band, and just like give me a few $100 and I'll do the album for you. So that's what we ended up doing. It's like I went to the studio. I believe we rehearsed like 2 times or something, and then we went to the studio, recorded for a few days, and that was it. Then it was done.
All right. And then kind of going back in the Walking with Strangers, I believe your first record was the Hardships. So tell me about that.
No, actually, it was the album after
Oh,
that called
Terra.
Terra. Yeah, that was the first one
Yeah.
I was on. Yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't sure like when you were in the band yet.
No, no, I joined when they just started up. They had I don't remember if they disbanded or if they just had a break. But they toured for the Hardships album, and then they had a hiatus, and then they were supposed to record a new album, and their drummer left, so they asked me.
Yeah, yeah, and I still thought it was a great album. I think it's like one of the most underrated like metalcore albums in the whole like
Yeah,
genre, especially in like the Swedish scene.
yeah, they had a lot of cool stuff. Uh, Unfortunately, it's hard for Swedish bands to get out and tour because there's not a lot of money. The scene in Sweden isn't that big,
Yeah.
so like all the bands that do this have to put a lot of their own shit into it. Like you have to take days off from work. You don't get a lot of money for the shows that you are doing. So yeah, the band had a pretty hard time getting out on tour. We had a few. Um, we did a tour with the Browning. They were called
Oh yeah.
American metalcore band. Yeah.
I love those guys.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, and I heard they recently did like a cover of like Eiffel 65's Blue Dabba Dee. I thought that was fucking awesome.
Yeah, yeah, it's certainly a very interesting band in a
Yeah.
lot of senses. We
Yeah,
got like
they have like
the
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 electronic-y kind of parts in their songs, but they're also really heavy.
yeah, yeah. It's like one of the few bands I've heard that actually mixes like metalcore with techno and like dance stuff,
Yeah.
which
Makes it
is
very
kind of
unique.
yeah, yeah. And we also did a tour with Chelsea Grin.
Ooh, love those
Uh,
guys. They're heavy.
yeah, yeah. That was a cool tour. Very cool experiences, like watching those guys every night because they are extremely talented and their show is just like super tight. The musicianship in that band is just like a bar above everyone else, you know?
Definitely. And
Yeah.
have you also heard of Ammonia, which has like some of the former members of Chelsea Grin? They have like their little side project, and it actually sounds
Oh,
really dark and heavy. You should check it out.
cool. Ammonia.
Yeah, it's like Amoenna, Ammonia
All right.
or
Cool. Yeah.
Amona. I can never say
Gonna
it
check
right.
that out. No, all right.
Yeah,
That's a hard part about having unique metal bands, you know, or band names.
yeah. Yeah, but then of course going into 2022, you joined up with the Crown. Like you already had no like Marco and Marcus and everybody. So how did you end up
Yeah.
like playing drums for the Crown?
Uh, I moved back to Gothenburg after I think it was I lived in Stockholm for 13 years. And before moving from Stockholm, I was in Adapt for maybe 2, 3 years. And we were trying to write an album that they actually released today.
Yeah, and it's fucking awesome. I
So
love it.
yeah, I only heard the singles before this,
Yeah,
but the singles have been fucking awesome.
yeah.
And when I was listening to the album, I just had it on in the background. I was doing something else, and I heard a few of like the riffs and song ideas that we made back in like 2018, I believe. So I was really happy to hear that they at least like saved some of the parts that we wrote back then when I was in the band. And yeah, I was in a band for like, yeah, 2 years or something. And then I kind of felt that I needed to do something else. The guys were probably missing Gabriel, the old drummer. And I was very into moving back to the west coast of Sweden. So I left Stockholm in 2019. So I had been living here for like 2 years when Robin, my old bandmate from Impius, reached out and asked me if I was available to do a few shows with the Crown because they had lost their drummer, Henrik. He switched to Hypocrisy. So they had a few shows lining up and didn't have a drummer. And he knew that I had moved back. So he asked me if I was into it, which I really was because I had taken a break from drumming for 5 years, I think. And one of those bands I just knew that I'll be able to do this was The Crown. Because when I started playing drums when I was very, very young and discovering like death metal and stuff, The Crown was one of those bands that I was practicing along to and tried to copy. So I had basically been playing the Crown songs on drums for my entire life. So I just knew the songs. It's like it was in my fucking DNA.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I went to the rehearsal place to rehearse with the Crown, and we played a few songs. And then Robin asked me like, "How long has it been since you played drums?" I was like, "I think it's 5 years, 4.5 or 5 years." And like just going from a break straight into rehearsals with a Crown, and he just poured out of me just like water, like was like riding a bike. Like he never forgot. So it was cool. I always felt very at home in the Crown because it's like songs I've been listening to my entire life, and I absolutely love the old albums. So it was very easy for me just to get into that band.
Yeah, totally. And like you already had known like pretty much most of everybody. I feel like the only one you haven't met was Mateus because I've had him on. Apparently that was like that rehearsal was like the first time you two met. So what was
Yeah.
like your first impression of Mateus, aka your fellow rhythm section buddy?
Yeah. So I had only had let's just see how to be diplomatic about this. Uh, we had only had conversations in like a messenger band group chat, and Matthias is very intense, extremely intense. So we had like a few days we were just like chatting in the band, and I knew that okay, this guy is going to be a lot. Used to like be around, and yeah, I was right. He is totally super ADHD, super intense. He's an absolutely lovable guy. He wouldn't hurt a fly. He's like one of the kindest people I've ever met, but he's incredibly intense.
Yeah. Yeah, but then tell me about making like your first record with the band Crown of Thorns. I love this album. This was like one of my favorite albums from last year. So, what was like the
Cool.
whole writing and recording process for this, being that was like your first record with the Crown?
Yeah, like I believe I believe Marco had demoed like maybe 12 songs or something for that album when I joined the band. So the album was basically done when I joined. But he was kind of I believe he wanted to make like the album a bit more dynamic than the previous ones. And me and Matthias, we weren't very big fans of that because we wanted to like play more of the faster, intense, blast beat driven stuff that the Crown were kind of known for. So we basically had him scrap like half of the album and then write a few new songs that were way faster. And like half of the album was done way ahead before I joined, but then half of the album was done basically like the same week that we were recording the album. And I didn't really have the time to implement any of like the cool, crazy, creative drum parts that I really wanted to, because the old drummer from the Crown, Janne Sarampe, uh, his drumming is like, it's to me, it's super unique, super intense. He's playing with like all this ferocity and fucking charisma that I, I love. So I really wanted to take that and bring that back into this new album. But since I didn't really have the time to write any drum parts, I was basically like coming up with drum parts in the studio as we recorded. So yeah, I believe like the recording went well, and the album ended up like being way better than I believed it was going to be. But I'm kind of sad that I didn't have enough time to bring back all these like crazy drum parts that I believe should be in the Crown.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, and I know you also had contributed some lyrics to, I believe, God King. So tell me about that.
Yeah, yeah, that was the second thing I wanted to bring back because Magnus, the old bass player, he is a huge fan of like Tolkien and Lord of the Rings and stuff. So when Johan showed me all the lyrics to this album, I was like, all right, so there's no Lord of the Rings lyrics on this album. He's like, I don't write that. So I was like, well, I have to write it then, I guess. So I just sat down with like the Silmarillion and stuff and just like started to write things down. So yeah, it's my contribution to the Lord of the Rings legacy of the Crown, I guess.
Yeah. Like, but for you, like, what's harder, like writing lyrics or like writing like the like music or your drum parts?
Like the lyrics, it was just like a fun thing. I just wanted to send something to you, and I basically said to him that I will write a few lines and you can make your own lyrics out of this. But when he got it, he was like, "Ah, this kind of cool. Just gotta roll with it." So I'm not a lyricist in that sense. So I'm way more into creating drum parts than writing stuff.
Totally. And then of course, like the album has now been out for a little over a year now. So how has like the
Mm-hmm.
overall like feedback and reception been for Crown of Thorns?
I believe the reception has been very, very well. It was very well received, but yeah, um, we didn't have a lot of the songs that got into the set list. We basically just play one or maybe two of the songs live nowadays because a lot of the songs, like they had uh, stiff competition from a lot of the older songs from the older catalog. And yeah, I believe that we could have worked a bit more on those songs. It could have been better, but given the time we had, both in the writing sessions and in the studio, it's like, yeah, this is what we got. I wish that things could have been a bit better, so maybe we would have kept a few songs in the set list, but yeah, that doesn't matter to me. Like I love playing the old songs anyway. So
Yeah. And when you joined up with the Crown, were you like listening to like the previous albums and be like, this is what I need to do? Or did you wanted to like bring like some like your own kind of like style into the Crown?
yeah, my style is very reminiscent to Janne Sarenpää's old way of drumming. I'm That's basically what I wanted, just like have the Crown sound as the Crown again, like the band that I grew up listening to and the band that I'm in love with. I really want like the crazy blast beats, the crazy drum fills. And so yeah, I believe me and Janne have a very similar playing styles, but that's probably because I tried to copy him when I was younger.
Yeah.
They actually, when I started to hang out with the guys in the Crown, they called me Lil Janne. Uh, so so yeah, it's like that's what I wanted the Crown to sound like, anyways.
Yeah. Yeah. So when it like playing like those old songs live, do you try to like match to how it was on the albums, or
Yeah,
did you ever try to like add your own little spin or anything?
no, like to me, his drum fills and his drum parts are packed into the songs. I wouldn't change. Obviously, I changed a lot of the stuff because my what I hear might be different from how we played the stuff on the album. But to me, like the songs are perfect on the albums the way they are. So I'm just like, that's the way I'm going to play them. Obviously, I do a few things that are my own, but I only do that when I feel that I can outplay or be more intense than Janne was on the albums. Because I have kind of different techniques. I can play a bit faster in some senses. So sometimes when I feel that I can just boost the tempo or boost the fucking double kicks, I will. But other than that, it's just basically I'm playing the way Janne did it.
Nice. And of course, like being at it has been over almost a year since Crown of Thorns, like have you started working on the next Crown album? Like what's the status with that?
As of right now, we are booking shows for 2026. And after that, I'm not really sure. We'll see what happens. You'll know.
Oh,
We have some plans, but I'm not gonna out them right now.
all right. Yeah, you'll tell me when I turn off the camera.
Well, you've had the other guys on here,
Yeah.
right? So,
Yeah, I saved the best for last with you.
all right, yeah, thank you. They
But
probably already spilled the beans, but yeah.
could be. Who knows?
Mhm.
But of course, like the recent news is like you joined up with Imminence. So how'd you end up joining the
Yeah.
band?
Uh, well, actually, Christian, the bass player from Miniminus, he was in Welcoming Strangers. So that's how I got into the band at first. And he approached me a while back asking me if I was available to do some fill-in shows for their drummer Peter. And I said no, actually, to start with, because I wasn't really interested. I was very home and comfortable in the Crown. So I kindly said no. But he asked me again a few times. And then he told me, like, all right, you only have to do like a few Euro festivals this summer. There's going to be huge festivals. It's going to be a lot of fun. Please join. And I looked at the schedule and I saw that none of the shows were interfering with the shows I had with the Crown. So, I had to ask my girlfriend very politely, is it okay if I spend the entire summer on tour with Imminence? And yeah, I was only supposed to do the Euro festivals to start with, and then I was going to get out. But during the summer, Peter, the drummer for Imminence, he actually left the band. So they wanted me to stay a bit longer and do like this world tour that we just did in South America and Japan and Australia. And I was supposed to be done after that, but then they asked me to do another tour in December in Europe. So I've been like always like postponing my departure from the band, but I'm not a member of the band. I'm just like a fill-in drummer because they tour way too much. I'm not equipped for the fucking tour life. And I have a great job and I kind of love being at home. So the tour life is that's never been that attractive and appealing to me. I'm very happy just like having the band as a nice escape from everyday work,
Yeah.
everyday life.
Yeah, yeah, and Imminence is I thought think is a great. They're sort of like the one band I discovered by accident, and then I remember watching Eddie was on the Garza podcast, and
Oh yeah,
I just like how like Imminence is different from all the other bands, like especially with the violins and playing. I love how some people dub them as like violin core.
violin core. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
they are definitely unique. They really are. They are very like a bunch of very artistic guys. They are very determined. They are I believe they found something that sets them apart from a lot of these other metalcore bands because like metalcore in general is very, very much the same. And like a lot of bands sounding the same, looking the same, and they found a way to be different. And they are like they are awesome guys. I didn't know them prior to um, doing these summer festivals, but I got to know them very fast. I believe like took a couple of days, and then I just loved all of them because they are beautiful guys, super talented. And it's just like it's been a lot of fun hanging out with those guys, and I believe they are only getting started.
yeah,
Like
because I'm
I've heard. Sorry.
yeah, you were saying.
No, I listened to the demos for the new album today, actually, and like the songs are very, very strong.
Oh yeah. Yeah, and I
Yeah,
remember first hearing them. I think I heard their song "Heaven Shall Burn." And I was like, "Wow, this is awesome!" And I was kind of
yeah.
curious if they got their name from the band Heaven Shall Burn because on Heaven Shall Burn's new album they have a song called "Imminence." So it's funny how
Imminence.
they both
Yeah,
have like songs named after each other.
yeah. We actually met the guys from Heaven Shall Burn this summer, and I don't believe they have met each other before.
Yeah,
But yeah, like I believe that Heaven Shall Burn, the title Heaven Shall Burn, was a coincidence to start with. But then the guys in Heaven Shall Burn are very a bunch of fun-loving dudes. So
yeah,
when they saw that, it's like, yeah, all right, we're gonna do a violin song, and it's gonna be called Imminence. So
yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Just to make
that's
sure
a
that
cool.
we're even.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But we met up, we did some photos. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, totally. And I was saying like and I was saying like both these bands have songs named after each other, and which I thought was
Hmm.
cool. Comes in full
Yeah,
circle.
exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
both European bands, you know. Now
Yeah.
it's cool.
Definitely. And so kind of also like in the end to sort of wrap things up, what's next for of course you with like the Crown and Imminence and stuff like is there like anything else you like to plug in terms of tours and stuff? Maybe a US tour?
No, we're doing Maryland Death Fest with the Crown in May
And
2026.
I'll be there.
Cool, cool. I'll meet you then.
Hell yeah.
And but nah, I don't think we'll have anything else in the US because right now it's just like impossible to get visas and book tours. So like the visa we get for that festival is only for that festival, only that date.
Yeah.
So
Once you get
yeah,
played,
I
you're like,
believe that
get out of here.
yeah, exactly. We'll come there like 15 minutes before changeover, then do a set, and then go back to Sweden,
Yeah.
more or less. Yeah, yeah. But we're booking 2026 with the Crown, so we'll see what happens. We have a few festivals, no tours right now, but a bunch of festivals. And after this December, I will not be in Imminence any longer. they will have a new permanent drummer, which is not going to be me because yeah,
Dang.
those guys they tour too much.
Yeah, and he was just like, dude, I need to chill.
Yeah, especially like when I got home from this 6 week tour just a few days ago, I was like, I kind of felt like a bit of PTSD, from just like seeing airports at the TV and stuff,
Yeah.
So
But
I'm a very stay at home guy. So I'm very happy just to be at home and do a show every now and then, not giving up my life and job and financial security and relationships and stuff just to be on tour. It's just like it's not my stuff, not my thing.
that's understandable, man. But thanks,
Yeah.
Michael, for coming on. It's so great to be able to have you on. It's just any final words you want to say to the viewers that are watching this to close this out?
Well, if you're watching this far, thank you. I wasn't sure I was going to do this interview. I'm not really comfortable in the spotlight. I'm not in this to get recognition or anything. And I don't believe that anyone would take the time to watch me babble about bullshit. So thank you if you're watching. And if you see me on tour, come up, say hi, and we'll have a beer.
Totally. It's on me, man. But thank you. Thank you, dude. So everybody, Michael
Thank
Noren
you.
from The Crown, and we'll see you next time.